I'm going to be going over in this video what I think is really overdue. This is just going to be all the like relatively big any percent strats that aren't covered in the tutorial, basically the new ones. And I think this video will be good reference just for anyone who needs to learn anything new or like hasn't been super up to date. This isn't going to be a super formal video. I'm just kind of be going through everything one by one and talking about how to do them. I'll probably try to edit this video a little bit, but it's not going to be too much. I think the first thing that I would like to cover is zero death, but I'm not going to actually do it because there is a zero death tutorial. But I think that it's important that everyone understands how it works. So I guess you can watch the zero death tutorial. But I think what I'll say for zero death is that the idea with it is that the only thing that really matters is that one, you want to clip out on the right side of the rock, which is where I do it in my gold, like any of my runs. It's important that you look at that if you want to see why. But the idea is that if you clip out on the right side of the rock, you're going to have a more lenient window for when to stop holding left when you go for it. And what matters is that you don't hold down for too long. If you do that, you are going to not get the speed boost once you drop out after the cutscene. That's all I'll say for zero death. The next thing I'll go into is button skip in Kamino. So I'll actually just go into the level. I believe it is Kamino D or something. Right, so what I recommend everyone to be doing if they're doing button skip is, damaging him twice in this room, and then once at the start of this room, force pushing him once, and then you're gonna just kind of roll over the spot that you want to go from and then fly in this area. Now, what's important to remember is that, this is kind of hard to do while I'm not moving, because if you set this up without moving, it's going to be a little different. But the idea is, I'll kind of give you some references of where I would take off from. So I could go from here, that would work. I could go from here, that would even work. I could probably go from here, but you kind of want him to be that, I would say, 2/3 to the left of the black part. And once he is just past the front of the black part, that's when you can fly. God, I really hope I don't mess this up on my first attempt. I haven't played any percent in weeks. But once you do that, all you want to do is pay attention to where you took off from. So for example, I took off, like I said, 2/3 to the left of the black part. So I'm going to stand right here. All right, and that'll work. So if you look at where I'm standing, Obi-Wan is, I would say you can pretty much be 50% between the black and the gray part, and you just tap left on the keyboard, right? Obviously, I was facing a little bit up left there because of the direction I forced it, but you just tap left on keyboard. So once you're halfway, and it's very important that you are halfway between the black and the light part here, and the further right you took off from. So for example, if you took off from here, which is super far right, which honestly that probably won't even work, but if you do that, you want to stand over here. See, and it's still going to work. So the idea is that the further right you took off from, the further right you stand with Obi-Wan. Sometimes you can even be as far left as here. And I mean, you just saw where I was standing with Obi-Wan. I was all the way over here. So basically, depending on where you are standing with R4 when you take off, so this is more halfway. So I'm gonna stand here. There we go. So that's it. So then what I do is after I'll kill him, and then I'll stand right here for a good camera setup, basically right in front of this second thing. It doesn't really matter very much. But if you want to get this fly down, which honestly isn't too hard, just make sure you take a good line. And if you cut in too early, you will hit the wall, so you'll still be fine. As you can see, there is a wall here that you can clip into, so you really should be fine. The other thing is, I don't know how I can show this, but if you are falling down too far, you can still clip up like I just did there, as long as you are directly underneath this little ledge. That's all it is. Then obviously fly here, force push, If you pan up, you'll get an auto dropout. I don't even know if you need to pan. You don't need to press anything here. You just keep holding forward and you'll call back in. And then what I like to do is keep player 2 in, walking into this next room, because he is in front. So you can get a better positioning on him. So that's button skip. The idea generally is that I don't know, this might work, but if I force this a bunch, like you're supposed to, and then I walk all the way over to the panel without turning around, it's probably not going to work. Well, actually, that will work, but if I just go straight left, this is probably not going to work. Like, I don't know, I can't check, but the reason it's probably not going to work is because the spot that you want to be, the respawn, it's not right up against the panel. It's actually a little bit to the right. So you'll see, for example, Evan will do like this, and he'll turn around and then swap. So he'll go like, boom, and then do that. And then, as you can see, the place that I'm standing before I get shot and die is closer to like around here, right? So a little bit to the right of the panel. Ginger and T-Fresh, I know, both do like this, right? So that they're like standing kind of like there. That also works. Anything that's going to get you like not all the way to the left, but then obviously once you're like here, I would say, once you like are going to fall onto this piece, you're just going to pop up into the piece. So you don't want to be too far right either. So I'll try and get an attempt that works. What I try to do is, I guess I'll just show you first and I'll explain it. What I try to do is I basically put Obi-Wan like almost to the panel and then stop moving. And then once he's on top of it, then I'll turn around and do the swap. Because if you turn around too early, then your spawn point might change, right? Because you might still be on the ground. Like, I try to go like right there though. Basically the idea. There you go. So I guess the next thing to go over is the Jedi battle manip, just because a lot of people don't like know how it works or even know what it is. So I'm not going to explain how to do it. I'm not going to explain how it works in this video. That's going to be a separate video that I'm going to make a better tutorial soon. But the idea with it is that by like the way that you do it is you restart your game before every attempt. And you make sure that you don't spend you spend as little time in the cantina before the attempt as possible. If you do that, you want to get like a good invasion room 1, and that will determine how many boxes you get in Maul. And based on how many boxes you get in Maul, you kill a certain number of droids in the Kamino Clip room in Kamino. And based on that, you get a certain spread of possible seeds that you can get. And you can recognize those seeds from the first couple droids in the arena. And so it's obviously a lot more complex than that, but that's really all you need to do. Cantina spawns mess with the variance. Obviously you can't really control perfectly how many droids you kill. And the whole reason I dropped the clip was actually so that I could control how many droids I kill more precisely. So that's another thing to consider. But for the most part, the seeds that you can get if you do the manip correctly are generally around the same. I won't go into much more detail than that. I don't think anyone needs to do it at all. Like, no one needs to do it really, but it does save time. And if you are good at Invasion Room 1, there's no reason not to. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about this strat, which doesn't like save a bunch of time. And I know I'm not really going into strats that like don't save much in this, but this one specifically I want to talk about because I think it's easier. I mean, it is faster and more consistent, and I think it's easier. The idea with this is that what I think a lot of people don't really realize about it is you actually want to space your jump like pretty well with this. You kind of go up against the wall here, and then you do a space jump to go around this like ledge here, like that ledge that I just landed on. You need to make sure that you go around it. So like left and then up. But like as you can see, if you don't space it, like you're just gonna die. So you saw like I barely even spaced the jump there, and I just died. But if you actually space it, you can just land on this little shadow part right here. As you can see, you can walk against the wall. There's no slope here. So as long as you do this, you're not going to fall. Now, obviously, if you go too high, you are going to slide. So you do have to be careful of that. But like this whole area here is fair game. And then just do a space jump to get around. Which I think a lot of people do neglect with the strat, so it is important to not do that. But the idea is basically like if you really want to make sure you get a jump, just land right about here, walk up a little bit, and then come down, and then you will always be able to get a jump because there is no slope there to slide off of. There's a couple ways to miss this though. Like that's the first way, right? I mean, yeah, that wasn't even an attempt, but you know, you get the idea. If you try to delay your jump too much, sometimes you'll just hit the wall before jumping, and to fix that, you have to... okay, I was trying to do it there again. But to fix that, you'll have to basically come more like straight left instead of doing... You don't want to do like up left like I just did there. Like your first jump should not be up left. It should be almost straight left. I think even on keyboard, you do like left up left to avoid what's happening here. So you can see the difference is you come more around. And that's kind of why you want to space it out. The second thing that can happen is this. You just like won't get a jump. And I guess let me try and show that as like a better example. So like you see how I did like an instant jump there, which is what some people do, which is like obviously it's fast, but sometimes you go for that and you'll just like slide off like that. And that's the whole reason that when you get up there, because like you can see, I just tried to jump there and I just slid. But if I run up, that'll never be an issue. So that's the whole reason that if you want to play this a little bit safer, you just run up and then do the jump first. Otherwise, you can just slide off because of like your walk cycle or something, I think. The last thing is if like do that and I don't know, you basically get a respawn up here. All you have to do is just hold up and then go for the jump. You do not need to jump up to the top. That's way slower. As you can see, that's like harder to make that jump from there, and it's way slower, so there's no reason to do it. You just need to hold up, and it's actually the same thing at the top, but yeah. You hold up and just go down and do the jump normally. That's basically all there is to that. I guess I'll quickly go over speeder clip. I guess why not, right? The one thing to know about speeder clip is that playing it slowly. Okay, yeah. Whoops. Playing it slowly is kind of the idea. So, I do this with Luke now. You can do it with Luke or R2. It really doesn't matter. You can even do it with Obi-Wan if you really wanted to. But the idea is, I'm just gonna go kill these guys, I guess, so I can like show this. So, when you put them at the door, I kind of like, I'll get off the speeder and then like move it like forward like that. So I'll like jam it into this lever here, which generally gives you a pretty good setup for this. Then you just want to turn it right. And then once the windshield is generally like where Luke is, you can just press forward and he'll go right in. Shit, I forgot you can't get out. But yeah, I gotta switch again. So the idea is like, the slower you go, the more consistent you're gonna be with it. Yeah, you know, jam it into the lever and then turn forward once he's at the windshield. And that's it. This is like really recent, actually. We just found a new setup for this. Which actually makes it pretty easy. So I'll try and explain it as best I can. The idea is that you kind of want to get Obi-Wan in the speeder. That's the first thing. Like this is actually perfect. As you can see, I've stopped moving Obi-Wan, and with Luke, I'm just holding one angle. And if I like relatively slowly turn to the right, he's just going to go through. Oh well, that didn't work. Hold on. There we go. So you relatively slowly turn to the right, and if he goes through, you'll see him clip in. Like that. So I am out of bounds right now, and I can't go through. I'm obviously not going to, but you know, you could do that like over here instead, like in the middle of the door or something. right? But like the whole reason you want to do it in the corner, the whole reason you want to do it, like, let me show you guys, like this will work over here, right? But it's a lot, like it's a lot harder to control the speeder, right? So the idea is, oh my god, the idea is that you want to put Obi-Wan and the speeder in like the corner, like this. That way, I can just do this. Because if I was on the left, I could not hold this kind of an angle. So you want to put Obi-Wan on the left side of the speeder, and then just turn slowly to the right, and he'll clip out. You want to make sure Obi-Wan is as far left in the speeder as is possible, pretty much. Not like the left side of it, because right there, like you saw, he didn't even clip. But like definitely in the left like corner of it. And that's all it is, really. Now I know some people have issues getting in the corner. Get Obi-Wan in the speeder like this, right? And then just move Obi-Wan into the corner while he's in the speeder. And then, boom. So even if you get Obi-Wan in the speeder when you're like in the middle of the door, like this, just keep him in the speeder, move both of them to the corner, easy clap. So the next stuff is like all in Endor, pretty much. I'm just turning on invincibility for this level. I'll do this because I don't want to get ghost starts every time. Basically, I'll go over the 12 button strat. So let me just go over to it really quick. I guess I'll go through it like in relatively quick succession because it's kind of hard to explain slowly because it just won't work. Make sure you kill all of the guys like first. Build the panel. Then as you use the panel, have Han go into this corner. You can see that that's going to put Wicket to the left of C-3PO, which is ideal. Now I'm going to go have C-3PO switch to Wicket and stand on the right button on the left side. And Wicket needs to get on his button before Han, or the strat will not work. 100% make sure that you do that. Alright, so Wicket gets on his button, then Han. And then, you know, whatever. They'll go onto their respective buttons. Normally you won't have this many guys there. This is just because I waited so long. But let's just finish out the strat and I'll show you guys what I do in a couple of important situations. So in this one, Leia and Chewie are like in a good spot, right? But if, say, I don't know, let's just say if it was like this, right? And Chewie is like way closer to the grapple than Leia, and they're not going to go up together, what you can do is just get off the button with Wicket. And that, like, so I'll get off the button with Wicket, I'll push Chewie next to Leia, and then get back on. And then at that point, they're guaranteed to be together. You don't have to get off the button. You could stay on it, but if you do that, you're going to be fighting against Chewie or Leia or whoever it is, and it's doable. It's just like a little harder. So then the next one is in the next room. Let me. I'm just going to teleport to the end of the room. This is Better Call Paul. So the first way to do this is put Leia like right here. Obviously it doesn't matter if it's Leia or Chewie, it'll still work. The more left you are, the better. But basically anywhere behind this like piece of the checkerboard is the important thing. But I try to go like right here. Then you're just going to jump onto this thing. There's no, obviously, respawn point here. And then from there, jump off and do not land on the ground. So you want to land on like the edge of the roof, because that has no spawn point either. And then make sure when you come down here, I don't know what that was. When you come down here, you do not walk on this like ledge. You need to be here. Like you can step on this for a second, but don't walk like over here. Otherwise the respawn's not going to work. Then there's two strats. The first one is you drop out, and then you just hold up with player 1 into player 2. This is why I hate this strat. But there you go. So one thing you can do is you can swap, and that will allow you to hit the transition. But you don't want to do that because you'll lose ghost starts. So I'll go over the 2 main strats. All right, so we do this, and then drop out, and then I'll push him into the wall. And once he's in the wall, I will call in. And sometimes it'll call in as Leia on the top, sometimes it'll call in as R2 on the bottom. That's why it's a little slower. But have player 2 head over there and just tag. The thing is, you can't call in before that. You need to call in once they're in the air, because you can't call in the player while they're in the inside of the bunker out of bound area. Obviously, if you could, we would just do that. But yeah. So this one takes a little bit more practice. But basically, I'm gonna do pulse skip, and as soon as I call in, I'm going to start running down with Han, and that's going to drag the party member who I don't have called in down to the bottom. Try and pay attention to where I put Han. It's like on the set of plants. Maybe I'll draw like a circle or something. I don't know, but you'll see what it looks like that. And I'll swap to Leia or whoever it is as soon as I'm on the ground. And both of them can push Chewie, and then I can just tag like that. That is the faster strat. It's a little bit harder. You do need to call in, or you need to start moving down, as soon as you call in, pretty much. That's how you make the strat fast. But yeah. So once C-3PO finishes this panel, I'm going to move down and swap to Leia or Chewie. I'm going to start running down. I'm just holding down on keyboard. Once I get to right here, so pretty much halfway through this railing, that's when I'll pull the lever. And what you want to do is, I'm not going to pull the lever here, I'm just going to show you what you'll do with Leia. You basically want to go like this, and then just hold upright. Once you're around this corner, just upright. If you're holding straight upright, it will always work. So I'll pull the lever there, and then upright. So now I'll show you with the lever pull, like this. There you go. Make sure you are holding upright on the keyboard or D-pad or whatever. You can do it on the control stick, but just straight upright when the camera is about to pan over. And you should always get it that way. And then obviously the strat would be a little different there. But the next strat is on the right side. When I enter this room, I just shoot once into the middle of the pack. And then I'll clean up the last couple of guys. But make sure you don't shoot this guy on the lever. So I'm going to go into this corner here. I'm going to hold right on the control stick and right on the C stick to pan right. Obviously, it is controller exclusive. And once I see the guy pull his gun out, I'm just going to call in. You don't want to call, not right when he pulls his gun out. You want to wait a little bit. But he pulls his gun out, call in, and then you're not going to press anything else. You're just going to keep holding camera pan right and running into the corner or whatever, and then drop out when the lever hits the bottom. Okay, I think it actually auto switched to look at there, but either way, when I call back in, it should call back in as Chewie or R2, and so you can get them to follow you with Han by going over here. Alright, so Leia did not come up, so I should be able to get this. Oh, well, Leia did come up. I'll try and go to Wicket here. Basically, once the camera has moved down and it's about to cut away, you just stand right here where I am, straight left and spam tag. You have to have someone on the elevator for this to work. You can do it down here as well. I know some people do that, but I've never had much consistency with it. I don't usually go for this unless either Chewie or Leia is over there on the elevator. You want to walk back to around this line, and you just kind of want to dawdle here for a very small amount of time. So I know some people do a slash. I'll just do a mini little half circle like that. Then you want to come back, and on the first vent, you want to try and gain some height on the left side of it. You only need to gain a tiny bit of height. Basically, what I do is once I gain a tiny bit of height, I start holding down left, and then I'll call in. And you can look at my input display to see what I mean. So that's the idea. I mean, I can still drop out here and get it, but yeah, that's the idea with this. And like, if you miss it, there is a backup for. I'll just do it again really quick. So grab the left side of it and then down left, more just like left than down left. But that's just so you don't gain extra height. Drop out, and then R2 can enter the next room. If you drop out, so there's like two things you want to take into account, right? There's one, you need to make sure that you don't hard lock. So like a hard lock is frame perfect, but oh, I did it. Okay, so yeah, if you're a god gamer like me, you can hard lock on command. So yeah, make sure you don't pause right here. There's two ways to avoid this. One, you can wait until the redrop happens, because this actually happens if you pause while it's auto-dropping you out. So you can wait until the redrop happens, and it'll be a little bit slower, but you could just do that. Or you can just pause before he's even off-screen. Both of them are, it's just up to your reaction time, but both of them are viable options. Neither of them is like more or less risky than the other, in my opinion, but again, it's just up to your reaction time. So fortunately, I can get myself out of the hard lock with Brick Bench, but I'll show you guys the backup here. So if I go for this and I do the strat and he just doesn't call in, I'm just gonna not call in. There is another event you can just do the warp with instead, and it's only a couple seconds slower. And then the last thing is, if you go for the strat and he doesn't call in, and you don't go for the backup, you want to pan up left so that when you walk past him, he will not call in. You do not want to let him get on screen. All right, just like that. All right, so I'm going to go over library skip because I don't think a correct tutorial has ever been made for it. And I'll also talk about my strat like right here, I guess. I have invincibility on, so whatever. But I just generally want to go, I go like up to the top here with both characters, and then I turn around and do a slam with both. And then I'll clean up like stragglers. Okay, so I don't really think your line here or your camber here matters much at all, but that's what I do. I really don't think it matters, to be honest. Alright, so basically, you want to put Obi-Wan like this, so his head is about halfway between that like door, the dark part of the wall, which is the door, and then the actual wall. Then have Yoda up against this circle here. Let him stop moving. Pan upright. And while you're panning upright, drop out. Now wait for the dot to be basically off screen. So like, you need to wait for the camera to fully adjust. And then there you go. Now, if you are having trouble with this, either you are calling in at the wrong time or you did not do one of those two steps correctly. Yoda should be completely stopped when you drop him out, and you need to pan, let me just get him back out here. Yoda, if you do this, it might just like not work, because even though everything else is fine, you're just doing it too fast. Yoda needs to be stopped. The camera already needs to be panned. Drop out. Wait until the dot is at the lowest point of the screen. And by the dot, I'm talking about the dot on the like wheel at the bottom left there. Basically, like if I do this, right? You see how the camera slowly moves itself up? But since I like mess with the camera, this is obviously not going to work. So let's talk about the backup. The backup should basically just be head over here, really anywhere in this area, but this place should work for the backup. And then come back, keep holding the camera upright the entire time. Make sure that Yoda is standing still. And the same things I talked about, make sure you wait for the camera to readjust before you go for it. You can also do this setup, which is the buffer jump setup, which makes the timing easier, supposedly. That's up to you, but I would say practice the timing for the regular strat. Okay, so the idea is that once Luke is like almost fully submerged he's going to jump forward and then do like a jump up left to get to this button. Stand on the left side of it. R2's going to land to the right of him. I start flying with R2 pretty much like right when I jump with Luke. And then R2 is going to fly to the end button straight forward, and then Luke is just going to jump upright. He will have to take quite a few steps before jumping upright to get to the second to last button, and then he'll jump roll onto the last button. And that'll just look like this. And make sure you just keep going forward, and then do the like jump onto the rock, and then once you're at the top, that's when you can drop out R2 and do let's skip as normal. It's important that your R2 positioning is really good, because I'll show you what R2 positioning I like to use. Just like that, yeah, that's pretty good. So like he's right in front of that like bottom right corner, pretty much aligned with the right side of it. And then there's like a couple things that I do intentionally here. So I jump onto it and I immediately pause, and then I'm gonna keep using the pause button to do like relatively slow pause buffers while holding like up leftish, basically just up. As you see though, I just did 2 pause buffers while the platform was going down, which is good enough for me. So now I'm going to do 3 quick pause buffers with, you know, A and pause, holding straight up left. So 3 is usually good. Those were pretty fast, so I'm actually going to go to 4. And then I'm going to do my last pause buffers with directly up. Alright, so R2 is a little bit below the top of the platform, which is pretty much all you want, and that should work out. So his head can be aligned with it, but generally it should be like a tiny bit below. It can even be a good amount below, but definitely don't have it above. That's probably not going to work. Okay, so let's talk about the out of bounds movement. Once your lightsaber is visible like it is here, like obviously you're not going to die, you'll be fine. But in the situation of something like this, where like you're probably fine, I will just realign it up so that I can see my lightsaber. And what you should practice is gaining or losing height. So like losing height is easy, right? So you just kind of go like that, just like go neutral for a second. But gaining height is hard because you have to control how much you're gaining height. Now if I want to go up a tiny bit, I can just do it like this, like that. So I know how long to let go for before I can jump and gain a tiny bit of height. This is something that you definitely need to practice. And then I'll go like this, hit the transition, and then for this cutscene skip, tag as soon as you hit the transition and just face down. Then as soon as you see the camera pan, you can switch. And you should always get it. So fucking good. Alright, so for this strat, you know, once you've box clipped Chewie or whatever, just get a manual dropout. The auto dropout's just like dumb with this strat. Basically, I'll show you like the positioning you want to go from, and then you just want to get an edge jump while holding like upright. You can actually hold like upright on the D-pad and it'll work. I'm a good height here, so I'll just show you. You kind of want to come to like the middle of this wall and just get that edge jump. You should be fine. You can go like this, and then hit the transition. Okay, that's everything. Sorry, this is a super long video. Hopefully this covers all the stuff that we needed to update, and yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.